My parents voted me out of the family and replaced me with a stranger because they didn't like my SAT score. I came home early from a school trip and found a girl I'd never seen before, sleeping in my bed wearing my pajamas. My mom appeared in the doorway and called her down to breakfast using my name. When she saw me standing there, she didn't scream or look confused. She just sighed and said, "You weren't supposed to be back until Sunday." My parents sat me down at the kitchen table and explained it like I was a dog being returned to the shelter. "This is your replacement. We've been training her since she was 6 in case you didn't work out. And honey, you didn't work out." My SAT scores had come back, 1,280. They needed at least 1,400 for the plan to continue. "She scored 1,560, Dad said proudly, gesturing to the girl with the perfect posture. "She's everything we hoped you'd be." They showed me the spreadsheets. Every holiday, every birthday, every reunion, the whole extended family had been scoring us side by side. Aunt Carol gave her a 9 and me a 6 at Thanksgiving. Grandma said she had better posture. They took a vote at Easter, and it was unanimous, 14-0. I was out. I begged. I screamed. I threatened to call the police. Mom laughed. "And tell them what? That your parents are sending you to live on your own at 17? That's not illegal, sweetheart. That's just disappointing." They packed my bags that night. Dad handed me $300 and said, "This is more than you deserve, but we're not monsters." They changed the locks before I made it to the end of the driveway. I couch surfed for 2 months until I ran out of friends. I slept in my car when I could afford gas and at the shelter when I couldn't. I worked overnight shifts at a warehouse and took classes at community college during the day. I ate 1 meal a day and told myself it was a diet. Every time I started to get ahead, something knocked me back down. My car broke down. My laptop got stolen. I got sick and lost my job because I couldn't miss shifts for a doctor. I applied for financial aid and got rejected because my parents made too much money, even though I'd never see a cent of it. I called home once desperate and my mother answered. "I'm sorry, there's no one here by that name," she said cheerfully. "You must have the wrong number." She hung up while I sobbed in a gas station parking lot. I transferred to a state school on a scholarship I wrote 14 drafts to win. I graduated while working 30 hours a week. I started a company in my apartment with a laptop I bought at a pawn shop. I failed. I started another one. I failed again. I started a third one and it didn't fail. 7 years after my parents threw me away, my company got acquired for $42 million. I was in magazines. I was on podcasts. And then my parents showed up. They were waiting in the lobby of my office when I came back from lunch. Mom was crying. Dad was holding flowers. "We made a terrible mistake," Mom sobbed. "We were so focused on metrics that we couldn't see what really mattered. The replacement didn't work out," Dad added. "She scored well, but she had no drive, no ambition, no fire. She just did what she was told and waited for the next instruction. She failed out of college and moved back home, and now she just sits in her room all day. We should have seen that you were the one with real potential," Mom said, reaching for my hand. "The way you survived, the way you built all this from nothing. That's what we should have been measuring all along. We want you back. We want to be a family again." I let them finish. I let them grovel. I let them paint their beautiful picture of reconciliation and redemption. Then I said, "You voted me out, 14-0. Aunt Carol gave me a 6. Grandma said I had bad posture. You changed the locks before I made it to the end of the driveway. We were wrong. We know that now. You told me I was a disappointment. You gave me $300 and said it was more than I deserved. You pretended I didn't exist when I called begging for help. We can make it up to you. We can be a family again. Please." I smiled at them the way Mom used to smile at me when I failed a test. "I'm going to take a vote," I said. "Raise your hand if you think I should let you back into my life." They both raised their hands, hopeful. "That's 2. Unfortunately, the only vote that counts is mine." I pressed the button on my desk. "Security, please escort my guests out. They're not on the approved visitor list, and they never will be." Brianna found me online a year later. That was the replacement's real name. My parents went through 2 more girls before they ran out of money. None of us talked to them. All of us talked to each other.